The massive ship hung in space like a silver knife. Inside, Jun wiped his sweaty hands on his uniform pants. He was the only human on board this alien vessel, and he could feel their eyes on him. Not friendly eyes. "They're ready for you," said the robot guide, its voice flat and cold. Jun nodded and followed it down a long hallway. The metal walls gleamed too bright, and the air smelled like nothing at all. Earth ships always smelled like something: coffee, or cleaning fluid, or just people. This emptiness felt wrong. The door slid open to reveal a round room with a table in the center. 5 aliens sat there, the Astral Dominion leaders. They looked almost human, but too perfect, with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed faintly blue. The one in the middle stood up. She was taller than the others, with silver patterns on her face that matched her uniform. "I am Commander Era," she said. Her voice was clear, but had a strange echo. "You are the human representative." "Yes, I'm Engineer Jun Kim, from Earth Central Command." A small smile crossed Era's face. Not a friendly smile. "A simple engineer. This is who Earth sends to discuss their future in our galaxy." She looked at her companions, who made sounds like quiet laughter. Jun stood straighter. "I'm here because I understand your technology better than anyone else on Earth." Era walked slowly around the table, looking at him from all sides. "Your planet has only just learned to travel between stars. You are children playing with toys you don't understand." "We learn fast," Jun said. "Do you?" Era stopped directly in front of him. She was close enough that he could see the tiny movements in her glowing eyes, like computer screens changing pictures. "Your kind is so fragile. Your bodies break easily. Your minds are simple. Your technology is primitive." The other astrals watched with cold interest, like scientists studying a bug. "You won't last a minute in the real galaxy, human," she sneered. "Better to accept our protection now. Submit to our guidance. It will be easier for everyone." The room went quiet. Jun felt small in his plain human uniform. These beings had conquered 100 worlds. Their ships could destroy planets. They were stronger, faster, and lived for centuries. But Jun just smiled and took a step closer to Era. "Why don't you show me what you think I can't handle?" he said. "I might surprise you." Something flickered in Era's eyes. Not fear, but maybe curiosity. Or surprise. "Very well," she said after a moment. "A demonstration can be arranged. But don't say I didn't warn you." And with those words, the test of humanity had begun. Jun followed Era through the ship's twisting corridors. 2 tall astral guards walked behind them, their steps silent on the metal floor. "Our species has ruled this part of space for 500 years, Era said without looking back. "Do you know why?" "Your technology," Jun guessed. Era laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Technology can be copied. No, we rule because we are superior. In body, in mind, in will." They reached a huge metal door with strange marks carved into it. Era pressed her hand against it, and the door slid open. Inside was a massive room, at least 3 stories high. The walls glowed with blue light, and in the center was a large empty space, marked with lines on the floor. "This is the Crucible," Era announced. "Every species that joins our dominion must prove their worth here." She turned to face Jun. "No one expects you to win. The question is only how quickly you will fail." Other astrals began to enter the room, taking seats around the edges. They spoke quietly to each other, occasionally looking at Jun with cold interest. A smaller astral approached and bowed to Era. "Commander, everything is ready." "Good. Ta will explain the rules," Era said to Jun. Ta nodded. "Human, the Crucible has 5 stages. Each tests different abilities: strength, speed, endurance, intelligence, and will. No non-astral has ever completed more than the first stage." "What happens if I fail?" Jun asked. "Your species will be classified as a protected race. You will receive our guidance and give resources in return. If you somehow pass, Ta paused, you would earn the right to join as equals. Era stepped forward. But you won't pass. You won't last a minute in the first stage. Your kind is too weak. June looked around at the watching astrals, at their perfect faces and confident smiles. They had already decided his fate. I'll need my equipment, he said. What equipment? Era asked with a frown. June pointed to the small pack he had brought. Just some tools. Nothing dangerous. Era studied him. We've scanned it. There are no weapons. Very well. As June picked up his pack, he noticed a control panel near the entrance. The symbols were strange, but he recognized the patterns. Power systems were always similar, no matter who built them. When do we start? He asked. Now, Era said, pressing a button on her wrist. The floor in the center of the room began to change. The air shimmered with heat, and gravity suddenly increased. June felt his body grow heavy, as if his bones were made of lead. Stage 1. 3 times Earth gravity, and temperature rising, Tay announced. The record for any non-astral is 58 seconds. Era smiled coldly. Your time starts now, human. June took a deep breath, picked up his pack, and stepped forward into the challenge zone. Every movement was a struggle, but he kept his eyes on Era and smiled. Behind that smile, he was already planning how to survive. The weight of 3 Earths pressed down on June's body. Sweat poured down his face as the temperature climbed higher. The astrals watched from their seats, waiting for him to collapse. 50 seconds passed, then a minute. Era's smile faded. June moved slowly but steadily in the challenge zone. Each step was careful and planned. He opened his pack and pulled out a small device. What is that? Tai asked, leaning forward. Just a cooling system, Jun said, attaching it to his collar. The device hummed softly, and cool air flowed around his face. Clever, Tai admitted, but it won't help with the gravity. Jun said nothing, focusing on his breathing. On Earth, he had trained in high-gravity chambers. Not this high, but enough to know how to move without hurting himself. 2 minutes now. The astrals were murmuring to each other. Increase gravity to 4 times Earth normal, Era ordered. June felt the extra weight immediately. His knees wanted to buckle, but he shifted his stance wider. Humans had evolved to walk upright, to run long distances when other animals gave up. His ancestors had chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Temperature to 45 degrees, Era added. The heat was like a desert at noon. June's cooling device struggled but kept working. He remembered the scorching summers in his hometown, how people still worked outside, even when tourists fainted. 5 minutes, Tai announced, surprise clear in his voice. This exceeds all previous non-astral records. June looked at Era and saw the doubt in her eyes. Good. He wanted them uncertain. Begin stage 2, she commanded. The floor beneath June shifted. Parts rose and others fell, creating an uneven surface that moved constantly. Then the oxygen level dropped suddenly. June gasped. The air felt thin, like being on a high mountain. His lungs burned as they tried to pull in enough oxygen. Oxygen at 60% of human normal, Tai explained. No previous challenger has lasted more than 30 seconds in combined stages. But Jun had climbed mountains on Earth. His body knew how to handle low oxygen. He slowed his breathing and movements to conserve energy. From his pack, he took out a small mask and put it over his face. It wasn't an oxygen tank. Those would be too obvious. It was just a special filter that made each breath more efficient. Another tool? Era asked, sounding annoyed. You didn't say I couldn't bring help, Jun replied, his voice muffled by the mask. 7 minutes now. The astrals were no longer smiling. Some were standing to get a better view. He's adapting, Ta said quietly to Era. This shouldn't be possible. It's just tools, Era insisted. Without them, he'd have failed already. But Jun heard the uncertainty in her voice. She was beginning to wonder what else humans might be capable of. "Begin stage 3, she ordered. Stage 3 began with a flash of blue light. The physical challenges suddenly stopped, and Jun found himself standing in an empty white room. "What happened?" he asked, looking around. His voice echoed strangely. "Stage 3 tests the mind, not the body." Tez's voice came from nowhere. "Your physical trials were impressive, but your primitive human brain will fail here." The white walls flickered, and suddenly Jun was standing on Earth. It looked real. He could feel the wind, smell the grass. But something was wrong. The sky was dark with smoke, and in the distance, cities burned. "This is Earth, 6 months from now," Era's voice explained. "After your failure, your planet refused our protection. This is the result." Jun watched as alien ships, much like the one he was really on, fired beams at Earth's surface. Buildings crumbled. People ran screaming. "This is not real," Jun said firmly. "It is what will happen," Era replied. "Unless you submit now, end the test. Accept our rule, and your world lives." The scene changed. Now Jun saw his family home. Inside, his parents and sister huddled in fear as the ground shook. "You can save them," Era whispered. "Just give up." Jun closed his eyes. He focused on his breathing, on what he knew was real. The astrals were using his own memories, creating perfect illusions to break his will. But humans had something the astrals didn't understand: doubt. Humans questioned everything, even their own eyes. It was how they survived on a planet full of dangers. "These illusions are very good," Jun said, opening his eyes. "But there's a flaw. The light is coming from the wrong direction in this memory. My family's home faces west. The sun never shines through that window in the afternoon." The scene froze, then dissolved. "Impossible," the voice muttered. Not Era this time, but another astral observer. New illusions came, each more terrible than the last. Earth drowning in rising seas. Earth frozen in endless winter. Earth turned to a lifeless desert. Jun found the flaws in each one. A building that shouldn't exist. Stars in the wrong positions. Colors that didn't match his memories. Behind the illusions in the real world, Era watched the human with growing unease. 10 minutes had passed, longer than any non-astral had ever lasted. "He's breaking the simulations," Taz said. "His mind keeps finding ways out." "How?" Era demanded. "It seems humans don't just accept what they see," Tay replied. "They question reality itself." Jun stood calmly in the test chamber, his eyes closed, sorting real from false with each new assault on his mind. "Enough," Era finally said. "Begin stage 4. After the mind tests ended, the astrals called for a break. Jun sat on a bench in a small room, drinking water from a metal cup. His body ached from the physical trials, and his mind felt tired from fighting the illusions. The door slid open, and Era walked in alone. She stood watching him for a long moment. "How?" she finally asked. "How are you still in the competition?" Jun looked up at her. Her perfect face showed real confusion now, not just scorn. "Did you know that humans evolved as pursuit hunters?" he asked. "What does that mean?" "Before we had weapons, we hunted by chasing animals until they collapsed from heat and exhaustion. We can't run as fast as most animals, but we can run longer." Era sat down across from him. "That explains your physical endurance, perhaps. But how did you see through our mind tests? Those illusions fool everyone." Jun smiled. "Humans doubt everything, even our own eyes. We tell stories about things that aren't real. We imagine different futures. We question what we see." He shrugged. "When your whole species does that all the time, spotting fake realities gets easier. You're saying imagination is a survival trait." Era sounded surprised. "On Earth, it is," Jun replied. "Our planet tried to kill us every day, with storms, diseases, predators, even other humans. We had to imagine threats before they happened to survive. Era was quiet for a minute, thinking. The astral homeworld was much more stable, predictable weather, few predators. We evolved for strength and speed. Not. She waved her hand, searching for the word. Adaptability, Jun offered. Yes. She looked at him with new interest. Your species is physically weak, but you adapt quickly. It's unexpected. Jun leaned forward. Can I ask you something? Why do these tests matter so much? You have better technology, more ships. You could just take Earth without asking. Era's glowing eyes dimmed slightly. We did that once, with another world. We thought their weakness meant they had nothing to offer. We were wrong. They had art, music, ideas we had never imagined. She looked away. By the time we realized this, it was too late. Their culture was gone. So these tests aren't about domination. They are about finding worthy partners, Era said. Species that can survive in the galaxy and add something new to it. The door opened and Ta entered. Commander, it's time for the final trial. Era stood up. Jun Kim of Earth. Are you ready? Jun rose to his feet, feeling the weight of his planet's future. What's the final challenge? Combat. Era said simply. Against me. The crucible chamber had changed again. Now it looked like a wide, empty fighting ring. The astral audience had grown larger, with many more watching from their seats. Jun stood on one side of the ring. Era stood on the other, now dressed in a close-fitting combat suit that shimmered with faint blue light. The final trial is simple, Tai announced. Combat between Challenger and Commander. The human may request modifications to the arena. Jun looked around carefully. I want several large blocks placed in the ring. Different sizes. And I want the gravity to change randomly every 30 seconds. The astrals murmured in surprise. Era raised an eyebrow. You want to make this harder? She asked. Not harder, Jun replied. Different. Ta nodded, and several large blocks appeared in the fighting area. Some were as tall as Jun, others only reached his knees. Both fighters may use any natural abilities, Ta continued. The match ends when one fighter yields or cannot continue. Era stretched her arms, and Jun saw her muscles ripple with inhuman strength. An astral was at least 3 times stronger than a human. She could break his bones with one punch. I will try not to kill you, Era said, her voice calm. But accidents happen in combat. Jun took a deep breath. Just remember, you haven't seen everything humans can do yet. A tone sounded, and the match began. Era moved with blinding speed, crossing half the distance between them in a second. But Jun was already moving too, not forward but sideways, ducking behind one of the large blocks. The gravity suddenly increased and both fighters felt the change. Era adjusted instantly, but those few seconds gave Jun time to move again. He wasn't trying to fight her directly. Instead, he was watching, learning how she moved. Running already? Era called, jumping over a block to land near him. Jun rolled away just in time. Studying, he corrected. Each time Era came close, Jun would dodge or use a block for protection. The gravity shifted again, now much lighter than Earth normal. Era leaped high, expecting to come down on Jun from above. But he had predicted this. As she sailed through the air, Jun pushed hard against a smaller block, sending it up to meet her. Not hard enough to hurt her seriously, but enough to knock her off balance. Clever, she admitted, landing gracefully despite the interruption. But you can't win by just avoiding me. I don't need to win, Jun said, circling carefully. I just need to show you that humans shouldn't be underestimated. The fight had lasted 10 minutes. 10 minutes that no human should have survived against an astral warrior. The audience watched in silent amazement. Jun was breathing hard, his body covered in sweat. He had a cut on his cheek, and his left arm hurt from blocking a glancing blow. But he was still standing. Era moved like water, quick and smooth. She had not used her full strength yet. Jun could tell she was holding back. But even so, she was growing frustrated. "Fight me properly," she demanded, circling him. "Stop running." "I am fighting," Jun replied, "just not the way you expect." The gravity shifted again, becoming very light. Era launched herself at him, moving faster than his eyes could follow. This time, Jun couldn't dodge. Her hand caught his shoulder, spinning him around. She pinned him against one of the large blocks, her face close to his. "It's over," she said. "You've done well for a human, but this is where it ends." Jun didn't struggle. Instead, he smiled. "Look at your hand." Era glanced down. A small device was attached to her wrist, blinking with a green light. Jun had placed it there during their close contact. "What is this?" she asked, eyes narrowing. "During the tests, I noticed something. When the room gets cold, your skin changes color slightly. Your species must be sensitive to temperature." The device on her wrist gave off a soft hum. The area around it began to feel very cold. Era's arm stiffened, the muscles not responding properly. Her grip on Jun loosened. "Human technology is simple," Jun continued, "but we're good at using what we have. That device creates a small cold zone, not enough to hurt you, but enough to show that I found a weakness." Era stepped back, looking at her arm as feeling returned to it. She could easily tear off the device, but she didn't. Instead, she looked at Jun with new respect. "You weren't trying to win by force," she realized. "You were gathering information, finding weaknesses." "That's how humans survive," Jun said. "We can't outfight your kind, but we can outthink you." The audience was silent, watching this unexpected turn. Era reached up and removed the device from her wrist. She studied it, then looked back at Jun. "In all our tests, no species has ever done what you just did," she said. "They try to match our strength and fail. You found another way." She turned to face the audience. "The human has completed the final trial." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Ta stepped forward, confusion on his face. "But Commander, he didn't win the combat." "No," Era agreed. "He did something more important. He showed us something new." After the combat ended, Jun was taken to a large room with windows that looked out into space. Earth was visible as a small blue dot in the distance. Era stood beside him, while Tai and other astral leaders sat at a curved table. "You must understand what happened today," Era said. She no longer spoke with scorn, but with a calm seriousness. "These trials were not what you thought." Jun turned to her. "What do you mean?" "We never expected you to win through strength," Tai explained. "No species can match astrals physically. The true test was how you would respond to impossible odds." An older astral with silver markings covering most of his face stood up. "For 500 years, we have ruled this part of space. We have the strongest ships, the best weapons, the most advanced technology. Then why test other species at all?" Jun asked. Era looked out at the stars. "Because we are dying." Jun didn't expect that answer. "Dying? How?" "Our perfection is our weakness," she said. "We stopped changing, stopped adapting. Each generation is fewer in number. We master the galaxy, but we cannot master time." Ta handed Jun a small device that showed charts and numbers. "Our population drops each century. We have tried to solve this problem with technology, but failed. We need something else," Era continued. "Something we lost long ago. The ability to adapt, to find new solutions, to imagine different futures." Now Jun understood. "You were looking for a species that thinks differently." "Yes," the older astral confirmed. "We have tested dozens of species. Most try to fight us directly and fail. Others submit without trying. None showed what you showed today." "What was that?" Jun asked. "Creativity," Era said. "You didn't just endure the trials or fight well. You changed the rules. The cooling device in the heat test, finding flaws in our illusions, using the blocks and gravity changes in combat." Jun smiled. "That's just how humans solve problems." "Exactly," Ta said excitedly. Your species finds unexpected solutions. You question everything. You adapt quickly. These are traits the astral dominion needs. The older astral stepped forward. The contempt era showed you as part of the test. We needed to see how humans respond to pressure, to being underestimated. June looked at Era. So you never actually thought I was weak? I did at first, she admitted, but not anymore. 1 month later, June stood in the great hall of the astral command ship. The room was filled with representatives from both Earth and the astral dominion. The walls displayed images of both worlds side by side. Earth had sent its leaders to sign the new alliance treaty. They looked nervous but proud as they took their places at the large table. Never would I have imagined this outcome when we first met, Era said, standing beside June. She wore formal astral robes now instead of her combat suit. You mean when you told me I wouldn't last a minute? June smiled. I was wrong about many things, she admitted. Your species has much to teach mine. The treaty being signed was unlike any the astrals had offered before. Instead of demanding Earth's resources or control of its territory, it established an exchange of knowledge and culture. Humans would learn astral technology, and astrals would learn human creativity. Already your scientists have suggested solutions to problems we've struggled with for centuries, Ta said, joining them. And our technology has advanced your world by decades. It's strange, Jum said, watching the ceremony. You came looking for a species that could survive in your galaxy. Instead, you found one that might help yours survive. Era nodded. The oldest astral wisdom says that true strength comes in many forms. We forgot that truth until you reminded us. The Earth leaders finished signing the treaty. The room filled with applause from both species. A new chapter in galactic history had begun. Later, as the celebration continued, Ara took June to a quiet balcony overlooking the ship's garden. Plants from 100 worlds grew there in careful arrangements. You will return to Earth soon, she asked. For a while, June answered. They want me to help set up the first technology exchange center. And then I'd like to see more of the galaxy, he said. There's so much out there that humans have never seen. Era's usually perfect face showed a hint of uncertainty. Perhaps you would accept a guide. The Dominion has many worlds worth visiting. June smiled. I'd like that. Though I warn you, humans ask a lot of questions. Good, Era replied. Astrals need to remember how to question things again. She looked out at the stars. When we first met, I told you that you wouldn't last a minute, human. I'm glad I was wrong. June stood beside her, their shoulders almost touching. And I'm glad I took that step closer. Behind them, Earth and astral representatives mingled and talked, sharing ideas and stories. Two species, once separated by pride and fear, now building something new together. It was just the beginning.